Let's see. So I've been thinking about emotional starvation and stimuli and our bodies rewarding us for doing certain things, like having a bond with somebody. Whenever you have a bond with somebody, your body releases oxytocin, which is like the bonding hormone, and you feel good because your body wants that. And whenever we go out places alone, your body doesn't reward you for that, so you don't feel as good if you're not being seen by somebody or if you're not bonding with them. Um, and like the longer that you're alone, uh, like the more you suffer from emotional starvation. And some people, they lose self-esteem, they don't feel as good about themselves because you don't have as much stimulation, and your body is just not giving you the feel-good hormones that you'd get with being in a group or in a social setting. And that really fascinates me that you can't emulate those hormones without people being around. You can't feed yourself emotionally without people. And I just wonder where does this come from? Like, why do we only exist if you exist to be seen? Like that sort of thing. Like, why do we get educations, go to schools, go to colleges? Why do we learn? And why is it um our bodies reward us for those things? It's like giving a treat to like an animal every time it does something correctly, every time that it remembers something correctly. And if you don't give that animal the treat, they're not stimulated to learn. Their bodies don't reward them. They don't salivate. Like your body, it's like your body's response is to like salivate with like a treat. I mean, like dog wise. uh, I don't understand that. All this progress, all this history, all these wars, um, evolution, it's all stimulatory, it's all social bonds and social development of groups of people that turn into like societies, which turn into cultures, which turn into just like civilizations. And it's all based on that small scale model of like groups and people learning things and stimulating each other, whereas you can't have that if you're not being stimulated alone. But even like a lot of the gurus that we worship, um, they come out of being alone, and they're alone for a while. Great spiritualist people, pretty much anyone that claims, to be a big leader or claims to be godlike or, like a deity, they've gone through some kind of malnourishment in like any kind of wilderness, like Buddha or Jesus or Gandhi or like Eckhart Tolle or like people that have been on the brink of like dying and just being in a place where nobody's there and it's all it is just self-reflection and just themselves in seclusion and isolation. Like there's a lot of good things that come out of that, but I would I just wonder what it would be like if they just stayed there and like what would happen to individuals, what would happen to society if everybody were like that? Like would society just be destroyed? I mean, all these like stimulations and like rewards that our bodies give us for being in social bonds, it's sort of like what was responsible for like growth. I don't know, I guess it goes like either or, but they're sort of dependent on each other though. Like society is dependent on like people who have been alone, and people who have been alone are sort of dependent on society. And then one writes, books about the other, or the other just writes books about itself for others to see. So it's like you can't even escape that, though. People just try to get away from it and they just come back to it, like wanting to be seen. I just find that interesting.